and welcome to the Weltklasse Zürich Inspiration Games. It's a demonstration event of the Wonder Diamond League 2020. I'm Steve Cram and I'm joined by former world champion Colin Jackson. Well, while COVID-19 continues to provide exceptional challenges for all of us, and live sport is no different, it has also provided an opportunity for event organisers and athletes to consider alternative ways to compete without compromising safety and hopefully giving sports fans a sample of what we've been missing. So the Inspiration Games is brought to you by the Weltklasse team with a whole new concept of competing where athletes can still perform and we can still watch, with some innovative ideas using technology and an open mind from the athletes and coaches around the world.
The stars of athletics are back. They are back to inspire in a live event with a new dimension. They are back to treat viewers to Weltklasse performances in 8 events. Get ready for the Weltklasse Zürich Inspiration Games. The stars will compete in 7 arenas in various corners of the world. 3 athletes will be lining up in each of the 8 competitions, thousands of miles apart yet united. This is how it works. Zurich starts the race by means of an electronic impulse. The starting guns in Florida and California, for instance, are activated at the same time. The Swiss timing clocks start running at the exact same time at all venues. The TV images, however, experience a slight lag during transmission and will therefore arrive in Zurich somewhat delayed. Therefore, the TV images will be synchronized. Here's an example. The flash of the starting gun will serve as a reference. Now the race can be broadcast as one race with a delay of 2 minutes. The stars of athletics lining up in 8 competitions. The best facing the best in their own home arena, but connected with the world.
So 30 of the world's best athletes, 8 different events, 7 different venues around the world. It's new, it's different, it's a challenge. Bear with us. I think you're going to see some wonderful athletics. We're certainly going to know an awful lot more about some of our world's top stars. Of course, the weather different. In California and Florida, it's around 30 degrees. In Papendal at the training center in the Netherlands, it's only about 18 degrees, been a little bit wet there. Karlstad, it's a bit cloudy as well. This is Lisbon, where this evening is much nicer, around 22 degrees. Only Pachado in the triple jump will be at this venue. It'll all work supremely well. Colin Jackson is with me. Colin, we've all got our fingers crossed, but we are really looking forward to this.
Oh, it's going to be an exciting event, Steve. I think the pure variety of locations brings us alive. We're looking at different temperatures all over the place, and you know, you were just talking about the very warm temperatures in Florida and in California, but what I did notice there, Steve, was they had more headwinds there. So it may be cooler in Europe, but I'm thinking conditions for actual performance with that little tailwind may be significant.
Well, yes, spread around the world. We're going to begin with each event. We'll show you where the athletes are, the 3 athletes. Valentin Le Villeneuve, sadly his brother Renaud broke his thumb last week, so he will represent the European team. Sam Kendricks, of course, for the North America team. Brilliant World Championships. Sam Kendricks very much in top form as well. And what a year it was last year. There's Valentin. He's had to step in late for his brother. And let's not forget that Renaud had a great competition in his back garden, but Valentin is actually indoors in Aubière, so no weather conditions for him to contend with. And what a year it was last year for Piotr Lisek, going over 6 meters, remember, on a couple of occasions. Had a great night in Lausanne, and his competitions with Duplantis, with Kendricks, really bringing the men's pole vault to the fore.
Hello everyone, welcome in Clermont-Ferrand in my hometown. Unfortunately, you know, I have an injury in my finger, so I'm not able to jump. But the good thing is my brother will replace myself and be able to jump against the strong guy. So Valentin, welcome back to Clermont-Ferrand. How are you feeling to jump in Clermont-Ferrand for Zurich?
It's strange to jump here for Zurich, but I'm very excited to compete with these 2 big guys. So now we just need to jump.
And what did you expect for today? The podium is almost easy because you're just 3 guys, but what kind of performance you wish you can do today?
I hope to break my opener season, my PB in the start of season, and maybe to fight maybe Sam or Lisek.
Okay, sounds good. So now we'll see.
He's got a career in that, hasn't he, Renault? Perhaps preparing for retirement, who knows? Very sadly, as he's mentioned there, injury to his thumb. So this is Piotr Lisek, early stages, 5:36, and slightly blustery conditions. There was actually a pole vault competition in Karlstad last night, which Lisek took part in as well, and it rained pretty heavily. And the guys are all watching. They can see what the other athletes are doing via a live stream. Let's hope the internet connections are good. So Colin, yes, it's a bit cooler there. You can see a little bit of a headwind as well for Lisek.
Yes, you can see there exactly what we're talking about. The conditions across the world will always be very different. And no doubt when he looks across and sees Sam here, he'd be envious of that glorious sunshine.
So Sam Kendricks is in Florida. Great indoor season, and then of course curtailed outdoor, but I've mentioned this to 1 or 2 people who worries about, oh, what if the athlete's no height? Well, Sam Kendricks has never ever done that. He's coming in nice and early, getting a feel for things at 5:36, very straightforward for the 2 of them. The Lavillenie brothers watching. Well, Sam Kendricks has talked a lot about obviously his tussles with Duplantis and where it's going to take them all in the coming season, if maybe not so much this year, particularly leading back to the Olympics next year. So this is Valentin, 5:36, indoors in Orbière in France. Oh, that was unlucky. I was well over that. Little nod from Lisek. A little bit unlucky there. Let's see the replay here. Certainly got the height here. Just coming down. Can't get. I think he just clipped it with his chest on the way down. Looks a little nervous, doesn't he? He's had to step in late. Never easy. So we moved to our first track event, and what an event to start with. This is over 150 meters. Allyson Felix in California, Shawnee Miller-Weibo in Florida, and then Kambundji will be on the home track in Zurich. So Allyson Felix, still a supreme competitor, despite all of the years, all of the medals, all of the championships, the world titles, Olympic titles, still going strong and talking a lot about her motivation.
Nice.
I've always wanted to be a mother as far back as I can remember. Pregnancy in particular was really difficult and really challenging. It's a time that is beautiful and should be celebrated and embraced. And for me, I didn't have that experience. I didn't feel supported, and I knew that I was not done competing. And I think that's really the challenging issue, is that women are capable to have their best performances after having children. But in order to do that, you have to be supported. And so there's still so much more left to do, but I feel like we're definitely moving in the right direction.
Well, I said Allyson Felix, like the others, just talking a little bit about her inspiration, what makes her still tick, what are the things that make her still want to be this world-class athlete. And we're in an event here of 150 meters, which is run sometimes in the straight, sometimes around a normal track in the bend. And so there are different times, best times for this. But here we've got 3 fantastic athletes, 2 of the greatest athletes around at the moment. Allyson Felix, as I said, a hatful of world and Olympic titles. And Shawnee Miller-Weibo just pipped in the 400 meters of the World Championships last year, and that brilliant performance there. That yet might change, of course, with NASA perhaps under suspension We'll find out more about that in the coming weeks, but Mujinga Kambundji on her own in Zurich will know that she's up against two of the best this sport has ever seen. Colin, 150 metres, who does it favour? 200-metre runners, 100-metre runners, nobody, just so different?
Oh, that's always a great question at this particular distance, isn't it? And lots of people be favouring Kambundji, actually. Strong 100-metre runner, of course, can run the bend well. She runs the bend for the Swiss team in the relay, so we'll see that perhaps later on. But yeah, perhaps her speed, her general 100-metre speed, will be enough to generate a little bit of the lead, and then it'll be up to these two to try and haul her back in.
Well, actually, the fastest time in the world this year has been set by another Swiss athlete. That's Del Ponte, who ran 16.67. And I think anything around, I mean, these women are capable of running that fast. But you can see there's slight headwind in Zurich, although it's a nice warm evening. And just wonder where the breeze is with the other two. But Miller Weibo's talked in the recent days about it looks like she'll have to go, or she wants to go for the 200 meters in the Olympic Games next year. She would love to double up at 200 and 400, something of what, of course, which Felix has done in the past herself. Miller Weibo talking about the schedule and where she thinks her best chances lie. That may all change, of course, as another year or more away to Tokyo next year. But for now, Inspiration Games, 150 meters. Felix, Miller Weibo and Kambundji. Alison Felix just looked as though maybe she didn't get out quite as well as the others, and Kambundji going well round the bend really well, but Miller Weibo looks to be really stretching out here. Hard to tell who's going to get to the line first. Let's just watch this, and the clock indeed. It's going to be very tight indeed between, well, all three of them in the end, but maybe Felix got it, 16.82. Well, Miller Weibo 17.17, Kambundji 17.28. Well, they won't know just yet, but they'll be told what the others have done. But if that is the case, Felix, who I thought just didn't get quite away as well, but finished very, very strongly indeed, Colin.
Yeah, it was good to see Alison keeping her form, wasn't it, all the way through to the line, because you can get a little bit tense in this 150 as you come off the bend, but she really kept everything, using that wealth of experience that she had to haul herself down these final couple of few meters, and she certainly took that, and she took it clearly, Steve.
Well, that equals her best ever in a bend race, her best ever, Colin. 16 point, oh, it's gone to 16.81. So it's, yeah, a little bit slow, but I said anything around 16 and a half would have been very, very quick. So 16.81. She's done more than qualify for the final there, I think that's saying, but excellent from Alison Felix.
Yeah, tremendous performance. It's really nice to see Alison is so full of running, a genuine inspiration to so many female athletes who are considering birth and what they want to go with next. You can see that certainly having a child is certainly something that doesn't hamper your performance.
Just heard Alison say that's weird. You should try commentating on it. Okay, pole vault. So just a reminder where everybody is. Lisek in Karlstad in Sweden, where it's a little bit chilly. Le Villani indoors in France. And Sam Kendricks in the sunshine, warm weather in Florida. So we've heard about the inspiration for Alison Felix. What about Sam?
I love horses because it just takes you back to a little bit more of a simpler way to experience travel. You know, I'm on planes and trains and cars and vans and all sorts of things all the time. But a horse is something you gotta put a lot of care into. Well, I come from a place where it is really nice to be outside. The springs are amazing, the summers are hot, the falls are lovely and colorful. And if you didn't experience that, I wouldn't be really where I'm from. And I'm a student, lifelong student when it comes to the equine arts. The more you put into it, the more you're gonna be received by that horse, which is a great thing.
Made in Texas, States.
I don't know if he was watching that, but yeah, it's good to find out a little bit more about the athletes, isn't it? I've spoken to Sam a fair bit over the last couple of years. He loves the outdoor life, particularly his horse riding. Lives on a ranch. More of that in a little while, but a bit of trouble here for Valentin Le Villani. Third attempt now, 5:36. The people who are there, including his coach and his brother, trying to help. Oh, again. You see, really, I think he suffered from that first attempt, which was a really good attempt. And sadly, that's the end of Le Villani. So just the two stars, if you like, Lisek and Kendricks. Must be hard, Colin. I think that first one where he really had it and he just knocked it off coming down and I wasn't able to recover from that.
Yeah, I think he's totally frustrated, isn't it? You imagine in pole vault, when you know you've got the height, you've got everything put in place, but you just fail on that timing. And this is the man who's expert at timing, Steve.
Yeah, really good technician. Lieutenant in the Army Reserve. Very nice indeed. And all of the athletes, you know, they've been really looking forward to getting back to competition. This is not normal, and there have been a few meets around the world, different places on different stages of lifting restrictions, and so it's been easier for some than others. For many that you're going to see here today, this is their first competition, so bound to be a little bit rusty. Others have had the chance to have a run out and indeed have some competitions, but it's the pole vault, isn't it, that's been the one we've been watching in the various back gardens, etc. Not so much Lisek, although, as I said, he's had 3 or 4 competitions in the last couple of weeks. Yet to hit the heights, though. And again, struggling a little bit here. Blue skies just starting to appear in Karlstad, getting away a few of the clouds away. Okay, so we saw our first winner on the track was Alison Felix. She said it was all a little bit weird. And there she is running on her own, but it was a very good performance. 16.81 her winning time. Let's hear from Alison now.
Well, welcome to Walnut, California at Mount San Antonio College. Alison Felix just finished the 150. You come away the winner, 16.82. Alison, you talked about the challenges of running by yourself, you know, and the distance, 150 meters. Take us through your run. You said that was weird as soon as you crossed the finish line.
Very strange. It feels like sort of like practice, but not even, because there's really no teammates or anything. But it's hard to challenge yourself. So I think that's the big thing with running solo.
You know, when I got here, you get to a track and you feel the excitement, you feel the energy.
Yeah.
But with not a lot of people on the track, was it hard for you to feel that energy and that excitement that you normally feel on a race day?
Yeah, I missed it, you know. I don't think there's anything that can compare to that. But I love this sport, and so any chance to get out here and run, it's been a long time, I'm all about it.
And here we are, the Zurich Inspiration Games. You know, how important was it for you to take part and inspire people out there?
Yeah, really important. You know, I think we see what a hardship everyone is going through, and we just want to bring a little bit of joy, pause a moment, and appreciate sport.
A message to the other athletes you competed against today.
This was fun. I can't wait till we can do it in person, for sure.
Thank you.
All right.
Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, well done, Alison Felix. And now we can move on to the women's pole vault. And this is where everybody is. Sandy Morris is in Florida. Stephanie, the Olympic champion in California. There she is in the sunshine. Based in the States now. Well, has been for a while. And very comfortable, I'm sure, in the sunshine. Just has that knack, doesn't she, of producing the big performance on the big day. What's her inspiration at the moment?
Colorado. You can see it's excavating over there. This is the last part of the land that needs grading, and then we're ready to build a foundation for our training building.
I think it's very important for us to build it ourselves. For me, it's a very fun process. I grew up in a family that was more into books and education, and this has taught me a lot about how things work, how things are built. big dream for many years now has been to have our own facility. So every time we come back home, we can just walk outside our front door and just go into our training building and be able to train.
Well, we often talk about athletes having to dig deep to get the performances out, but that was a little bit different. I'm jealous. Very jealous of dry dive from that big excavator. So, what a high-level competition we have in this women's pole vault. There's Stefanidi. As I said, the knack of producing the big performance, really when it matters. Hasn't vaulted as high as some of her compatriots, but it doesn't matter. She's got gold medals in the bag. The Olympic champion will be hoping to defend that title in Tokyo next year. She'll have to beat the likes of Sandy Morris, a 5-meter vaulter, and only 2 women in the world can ever say that. And she's a character as well. A lot of people know that she's a bit of an animal lover, particularly snakes. Angelica Bengtsson from Sweden, one of the greatest young champions when she was a junior, phenomenal talent, and is now converting that into medals outdoors, and had a good World Championships last year when it looked as though she was out. On one occasion the pole snapped, she got a 3rd attempt, and you can call that a clutch performance from her. But so Bengtsson knows what it's like to compete against Stefanidi and Morris on many, many occasions, but this is different parts of the world. Sandy, one of the sport's great characters. And at Weltklasse last year, when the stadium was full, as we sing Noah Lyles a little bit later, of course, Noah and Sandy got together to produce a bit of music for us to entertain us. So Bengtsson, like Piotr Lisek, is in Karlstad. This is 4:36, 2nd attempt. And she's over, that's better. She said she's actually been looking for work in this summer. She's applied to be a traffic warden. Good luck with that. Now she's got some competition. I'm not sure when she did that she thought she might get too much competition, but things finally getting moving in the world of athletics. So Stefanidi watching on as Bengtsson goes clear. Sandy Morris has chosen to pass at the early heights, with Stefanidi coming in at the next height. So this is 4:46. Already one failure for the Olympic champion. Just needs to get herself set here. Now, well, she's going to have to make some adjustment there. Just looked a little bit lethargic. Not easy, Colin.
Yeah, it's always difficult, isn't it, when you're trying to compete on your own, trying to get a bit of atmosphere going for you to deliver that performance. But if anybody can do it, it would be Katarina. It's a wealth of talent. Let's have a watch her again. She's trying to be a little bit aggressive. You can imagine if there was a whole sense of crowd around cheering her on, that may be what was needed, but it looks like she's not quite got the height yet either. So a couple of adjustments for herself. She'll try and get her mind around it and see if she can produce something on her final attempt.
So Bengtsson at 4:46. Again, one failure. She's just seen Stefanidi fail at the 2nd attempt. That's better. Well, she knows that she's putting some pressure on the Olympic champion now. Still no sign of Sandy Morris yet. She doesn't look too happy. Nice clearance here from Bengtsson. Just clipping the bar. So that event continues, and now we're going to move on to our next track event. Innovation all over the place, and we are actually going to take a little bit step back here, if you like, and go to a distance they haven't really competed in on the world stage for a long time. The 100 yards, last contested at the championships and the Commonwealth Games back in the 60s. And this time, though, it's held quite often still in the US. And Omar McLeod from Jamaica. Hurdles, of course, his normal barriers in the way. Today, though, he's got 2 excellent competitors against him.
This is Coco, this is Fudge. They mean the world to me. I really love these little creatures. This one, she just had puppy. She just had 7 puppies. I've been a dog lover ever since I was a kid, and not being around family, which I love family unit and all that. Living in Florida was the goal for me because it's like an hour and a half away from home, and you know, when I'm in distress or I normally go into this phase of nostalgia where I miss home a lot. Obviously dogs don't take the place of humans, but you know what I mean, they're still family. Like I've always said, God created dogs to show love, like show us humans what it is to really love. Y'all like the kids, did you brush your teeth?
When I said 2 great competitors, I didn't mean those 2, obviously. They're 2 of his greatest friends. The Olympic and former world champion, of course, last year, a bit of a disastrous final in Doha. And Grant Holloway went on to take the title. McLeod ended up being disqualified and impeded Ortega, and it wasn't the best of race for many of the men taking part, but he'll be looking to produce something special here, and he'll have to if he's going to win this, because Omar is up against 2 of the world's great sprinters. So no barriers for him today, but here, Andre de Grasse, silver and bronze medal again at the World Championships to match what he did at the Olympic Games, representing Team North America, the Canadian, now based in this part of the world. This is the one race where all 3 athletes will be in the same place to race against each other. Jimmy Vico from France, the quickest starters, and at his best, one of the best sprinters that Europe has ever seen. So Colin, familiar territory for these guys.
Yeah, they're very much on home soil. They know each other, of course, very well, training hours together, so they know what they're all capable of. But Steve, this is the real marvel of competition, because what you produce in training may be slightly different to when you have those nerves and anxieties and the added pressure of that word competition. So, you know, people may look at this and think Andre de Grasse maybe starts as a favourite, but Jimmy Vico, of course, has run 9.8. Omar himself has gone under 10 seconds as a sprint hurdler. That's a really strong sprint performance. So you know what? This is a new distance for many of them to compete over. So I'm excited to see who will take this 100 yards, remember, 100 yards.
Yeah, 100 yards, just to give you an example of times. The fastest recorded 100 yards is 9.07. That was when Asafa Powell set a record over 100 meters, or he ran 9.83 over 100 meters in Ostrava. Now, he had a timing system, so many of the existing electronic times are from Ostrava. Hand timed, you can go all the way back to Ivory Crockett, 9 flat. Vico ran last week, de Grasse ran the weekend, actually 10.15, 10.17 over 100 meters. So he's in pretty good shape. So de Grasse in the middle. 100 yards for men. Jimmy Vico got a good start, but so did de Grasse. McLeod just left a little bit here, but now Andre de Grasse trying to get back on terms here. It's going to be very, very close, but de Grasse just gets ahead on the line. He wins it, 9.69. Well, that'd be a good 100 meters time. Not taking anything away from the guys. I think there's a bit of a headwind there, Colin. We'll just sort of try and get a check on that when we get the official results. But de Grasse, as expected, Vico got out very strongly, but he just ran him down in the last 20, 30 meters.
Yeah, that's exactly how we planned the race if we were going to see how the race would go. They would go out hard. And de Grasse just is able to keep that form, isn't he? Even in the 200 and the 100, he manages to hold his form all the way through. He always believes in what he's capable of. So, good performance and a good real competition. They'll be talking about this for many, many days to come.
Yeah, I just noticed the wind reading coming up as -3.4 into their face. So, yeah, that's one of the reasons why it maybe wasn't quite as sharp, given how fast de Grasse ran last week. Jimmy Vico wasn't far behind, though. Omar McLeod having to settle for 3rd place here. So it's a victory for Team North America ahead of Europe. Nicely done by de Grasse. There you can see it. Wasn't much in it in the end, just 400s, as I said, and Colin was explaining there, Vico very strongly out. All the athletes are a little bit rusty, you have to accept that, but not bad performances at all. Certainly going to head the world list for this year. Not going to be too many 100-yard races.
I have no idea. I'm not. Winners the grass?
So while we wait for the guys to get sorted out, let's go back to the women's pole vault. And we left it with Stefanidi in a little bit of bother. So third attempt at 4:46. Oh! Oh, well, that's a shame. Well, the Olympic champion, she's such a redoubtable competitor. She'll be pretty annoyed, I'm sure, that despite the smile on her face. She has talked, I was watching a couple of interviews with her, she can really lack confidence at times, she said, even though she's won, you know, the greatest competition you want to win, the Olympic Games, and she still doubts herself at times. But she's normally pretty consistent, Colin.
Yeah, I can see she would be a little bit frustrated with this performance because none of her real attempts were where she achieved the actual height, you know. She was catching it mid-thigh sometimes. And you can see when you're an Olympic champion how frustrating it is. I was speaking to her earlier in the week and she was saying how she's in rather decent form. So she'll go back to the drawing board. And Steve, you know, sometimes you just have one of those days.
Copy that.
So Sandy Morris then. World indoor champion, Olympic silver medalist and world silver medalist as well, outdoors. That's nicely done. She's had a few more competitions, we saw her in the garden competition as well. Much better conditions in the States than Bengtson is having to contend with, but they knew that would happen. It's a unique event, and the different weather in different locations, part of this competition anyway. So she's seen Sandy Morris go clear. 4:56 for Angelica Bengtson. No, just getting that one all wrong. That would have been a season's best had she cleared it. Stefanidi looking a little circumspect there. Really just thinking, okay, not my best. The thing about this, Colin, is it's pretty, you know, you can't escape it. It's not like a competition. There's in the stadium, there's lots of other things going on, and you know, the spotlight's very much on you here.
Yeah, it's going to completely focused on Katarina there. You can see now she was looking back at the scoreboard, looking how everything was this and comparing herself with everybody else. And you have the 300-yard dash runners there. They'll have a lot to talk about here. But you mentioned it, Steve.
What's it been like not being able to train 100%?
Oh, it's been tough. I mean, you know, we've been trying to go 2 to 3 days a week, you know, trying to bounce from track to track, grass field to grass field.
Yeah.
Try to find an indoor facility. It's been the toughest ever. I mean, so, I mean, for me, you know, I'm glad I got to come out here and get a run in. Shows how much work I put in here. So, I mean, you know, we'll see. We'll see. I still don't know the time, so I can't gauge it.
Yeah, we're still waiting on that.
But I mean, it was good. It was good to get out here and just get a run in. I mean, it was fun.
So you already have 3 Olympic medals. What does that feel like when it's like, okay, you know what the Olympics feels like, and now that Olympic rug got pulled out from under you this year?
Yeah, man, I felt like I was in great shape coming off of last year, you know, winning a silver and a bronze. So I just want to try to ride that momentum into next year. I've been working a lot on my start before the pandemic hit because I knew that was going to be the key to, you know, getting me to win that gold medal. So, I mean, yeah, it's pretty tough to go through this, but I mean, everyone's going through it. We just, you know, gotta, you know, fight through it and, you know, figure out what's next, and hopefully, you know, things will get turned around, and if this is the new norm for next year, then just, you know, just got to be ready.
Yeah. All right, hold on 1 second. Let me.
Atto Bolden doing the interviewing there. I think Dan O'Brien's the other American venue. Second attempt, 5:46 for Lisek. First one, not so good. That's better. You always know it's a little bit chilly. The tracky bottoms haven't come off yet. Whereas Sam's having to keep himself in the shade. Stay cool.
It's kind of weird, man. He's jumping again.
I'm really listening and enjoying the little comments. It's so unusual for the athletes, Colin.
Yeah, it's good. They're watching each other in that sense, and they're also commenting, as you say, how they are, how they feel, how they think their opponents are doing. But he's certainly the man that everybody is trying to get close to.
Still, the sort of heights you should find fairly straightforward. There you go. Makes it look so good, doesn't he? And Lisek kind of going, it's a bit of a struggle for me, actually. Lisek last year had a phenomenal year, and I remember in, as I said, Lausanne. Then he went on to Monaco, went even higher.
That's where I started.
Over 6 meters, joined that illustrious club, if you like.
You're crazy, Sam.
And Duplantis continues to set new marks for everybody to work towards. So Lisek knows he's got to keep pace with these other two. A little bit more difficult this evening. There you go. Well, he's making hard work of it.
I'll wave at you, Sam.
I know you're waving at me, Sandy. I'm trying to wave at Renault. He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it. I know he's gonna do it.
Well, Steve, it looks like the athletes are certainly enjoying that whole experience, isn't it? Lisek there, clearance. He'll be happy with that.
So, second time clearance at 5:56 keeps him in the game. Not quite putting pressure on Sam, who looks very relaxed. So we go back to the women, who are at 4:56. Angelica Bengtsson from Sweden, former World Junior champion. Well, I said this was her best so far this year is 4:52.
Yeah, when you look, Steve, you can really tell that it's the cobwebs that they're trying to blow out here, aren't they? You can still see that it seems to be an early season performance by her. You know, plenty.
Yeah, she had a great year last year, Colin. A really, really good one. And so far this year, it's difficult for the athletes, as I said. She no heighted actually in Gothenburg on Saturday, which must have been a big disappointment. But she said she's been able to train pretty normally. A lot of the athletes have. No. Well, that's sad for Bengtsson, but probably about the height we would have expected. Not quite yet in the form she was last summer. So frustration for her, and that will now mean we've only got Sandy Morris left.
She really attacked that bar, though, didn't she? She wasn't going to go easy. She was trying to get that season's best under her belt. But as you say, in relative terms, it is still very, very early on in the year, technically, when it comes to athletics, just because we've had that lack of competition.
Yeah, so a bit of inconsistency, I think, for all of the athletes, and Bengtsson, like Stefanidi, would have loved to have gone higher here, but it's all left to Sandy Morris now. She could put on a little bit of a demonstration. So the bar now at 4:66, already won the competition. No, got that one all wrong, skewed off to the right. It is windy, you can see the breeze, and I think it's coming kind of across her. See from that yellow flag, just getting the plant wrong, all off balance. Just having a review. Hopefully she'll be able to make the adjustments as we look forward to the next event on the track, 300-meter hurdles. Really looking forward to this. We've got the best ever Heinova in Netherlands. We've got Leah Sprunger in Switzerland, and Georgianne Moline, who's a late addition to the field. But again, we've got to, we're going to find out a little bit more about Leah Sprunger.
As a Swiss athlete, I'm really often not home. It's sometimes hard, but it's also beautiful because I'm able to see a lot of countries, being able to go to Africa, to America, and yeah, I'm really grateful for that. Every time I can come back home is really special and important for me. Home is where I feel good, I feel relaxed, and I'm really using those days, those weeks when I can come between a competition or between a training camp, and I can really enjoy my house and recharge all the batteries, just reading a book or having a good meal with my family and my friends.
So Leah Sprunger looking fairly relaxed in that film, looks a little bit nervous here, and perhaps not surprising, because despite the fact she actually now trains in Holland, she's the Swiss coach who used to be her coach then moved to be part of the Dutch Olympic setup, and she's gone there, has continued to improve in that group, but she's got against her here Hejnova from Czech Republic and Georgianne Malin, who's had a whole year out with injury, had surgery last year. Dalila Mohammed, late withdrawal, and Malin has stepped in. So her first competition for 18 months in terms of hurdling. Hejnova, if you look the all-time world list, she's right there at number 1, the two-time world champion. And Sprunger actually third best ever, and Sydney McLaughlin is in between the two of them. So we've got 2 of the top 3 ever at this event. And if you were watching the Impossible Games from Oslo a few weeks ago, you would have seen that Sprunger got surprised a little bit by Sarah Slot-Peterson. We thought that Sprunger might be the favourite for that one. It was a little slow in getting moving on that occasion, so she might, and she was trying a new stride pattern. I'll bring Colin in on it is a time for experimentation, but an odd distance event as well.
Yeah, it's a fun distance for 400-meter hurdlers at 300 because they feel so strong, because where all the mistakes tend to happen in the 400-meter hurdles itself is coming off hurdle 8, which is right on that bend, which is around that 300-meter mark. But of course, that's avoided in this particular point because they'll be already sprinting and heading towards the line. So they can really blast and also play a little bit with their stride length. So it's going to be interesting to see who's fixed things, readjusted stuff. I'll certainly be looking at Leah to see how well she does in comparison to her previous performance over this distance.
Well, she's probably thankful she's in Zurich. She did actually race in Holland last week against a very exciting talent, Femke Bol, who ran a very fast 54.4 and Sprunger dropped out of that race. She had run a couple of other races, a couple of sprint races before that, but be interested to see if she's able to bounce back from that. Hejnova, who's already run a couple of times this year, is in pretty good form, but a test for her here. And as I said, Georgianne Malin, who has not raced for such a long time, a welcome return for her. Let's see how she can do. 300-meter hurdles. Well, we'll obviously get a gauge here as they hit the first hurdle, who started quickly. Sprunger just checking again there. Hejnova a little bit behind, started a little bit more slowly. Sprunger still looked as though she's leading this. Malin has started very quickly as well, though, the American perhaps out in front. And Hejnova got a bit of work to do to get back on terms. A good 4 or 5 meters adrift of the other two. And it's Georgianne Malin who's leading this at the moment. And the American, just got that one wrong there, but Sprunger also struggling. Now, can Malin hang on? She's still got a 3-4 meter lead. Hejnova well behind. It's going to be tight on the line. Who's going to get there? Malin wins it, I think, from Sprunger. Not by much. Just a 1/10 of a second or a little bit more in between them. Well, that's a welcome return, isn't it? And 39.1. That's very, very good indeed for your first race back. In fact, that's remarkable. Colin.
That is a very strong performance there by Malin. It was good to see it because she attacked the barriers, didn't it? You would never have thought that she's taken so much time off. She just went for it, attacked them well, ran bold, good, competent hurdling. And she even, Steve, with that performance, she made a couple of mistakes as well, a few errors, which is so good to see. That means there's going to be so much improvement coming from her.
Well, she had foot surgery last year, as I said, but it certainly, she's talked a lot about her rehab and how she had to be patient, and she's felt as though training was going well, but you never know, do you, until you race, Colin? So you've got a technical event, and you're also trying to work out exactly how fit you are. But she'll be delighted with that.
I hope she will be delighted with it, because that is such a really good, strong performance by her. Aggressive when it really mattered to do. She relied on her ability to compete. Even though you're not having people next to you, you could see that she was thoroughly enjoying the race. It was a challenge, and look at that beaming smile. She's very, very happy with that result.
World leading, 39.08, just taken down a couple of hundredths. That's one of the quickest 300-meter hurdle times ever, and it's certainly the quickest this year. Sprunger with an improvement on what she did in Oslo, 39.25. Heineve never really got into the race there.
Okay. Sprunger, 39.25. But we haven't seen a time for Heineve yet.
Okay. Dang it.
Did you have a hit?
Well, from one type of clearance to another. So far, so good for Sam Kendricks. His younger brother's now pole vaulting. He has a twin brother, actually, who doesn't pole vault. He's got a younger brother who started and apparently doing very well. Nicely done again, Kendricks. First time clearances all the way through here. Such an odd kind of competition dynamic, isn't it, Colin? You know, you're doing your vault, you clear or you fail, you go back and sit down, you see what your competitor does.
Yeah, I think of all dealing with this circumstance, the situation, I think pole vaulters are most probably the best armed, because they tend to do this quite a lot, don't they? And they've already have lots of innovation in their event, whether it's on the street, whether it's, you know, in gardens that we've seen. So, yeah, they're most probably best prepared.
Second attempt. Oh, and he's done it. Well, that might give him a little bit of confidence. Little smile from Sam Kendricks. So Lisek with the season's best there. It's not very high by his amazing standards. And, you know, he might say, I'm not fully ready yet to go higher, but that's the best he's done so far this year, 5.66. So the bar goes up now at 5.76. Kendricks has had one attempt, and it was his first failure of the competition, so a second attempt. Ooh. Now, is this the mark that finds them out? And Lisek just thinking, okay, maybe I've got a chance here. Sam Kendricks just... Colin, when you watch him, when he gets it right, it looks perfect, doesn't it?
Yeah, he really, when he jumps well, it looks effortless. He's kind of got that jumping technique which tries to encourage you to have a go yourself.
No, not me.
You can do it, Steve.
You might. So Sandy Morrison, second attempt for her at 4.66. Just her left in this competition, don't forget. Ah, yes! And an even time to celebrate on the way down. Well done, Sandy Morris.
I think Sandy knew she had that even as she planted the pole and started to head towards that bar. You can see already she's feeling, I've got the height, I've got the timing right. And she said as she cleared it and was tumbling down to the mat, she already had said, yes, got it.
Well, it was her first outdoor competition of the year. Katerina, I think, watching the the racing. About 4.76, I think, you know, this stage of the season, first, as I said, first outdoor competition. Were she to go clear here, she'd be very satisfied. Didn't get there. So we've been concentrating on the pole vaults. Our third field event will be the men's triple jump. And look at who we've got here. We've got Christian Taylor, Olympic world champion, medals galore, gold medals galore. Pichardo, the man who he's had so many great competitions with, he's going to be in Lisbon all on his own. No other athletes in Lisbon. Christian in Florida, and Omar Craddock is going to be in California. Christian looks a little warm, but he inspires others. He has done all around the world. He's an inspiring character. But what about his inspirations?
I have been a part of Classroom Champions since 2013, and it is a program that pairs Olympians and Paralympians with students and teachers all across Canada and the United States. In this program, we teach lessons such as perseverance, community, and even goal setting. On those days that I just don't have the willpower to go outside when it's raining and cold, I no longer feel that I'm doing it for myself, but for my students, that I talk about grit and perseverance, working through adversity, reaching those goals that I set at the beginning of the school year. Being a mentor, I now feel like they're holding me accountable the same way I'm holding them accountable.
Well, 4 world titles, 2 Olympic titles, but he's still a very approachable man, and you can see how much he cares about others as well. Still at the top of his game as well. Moved around the world a bit with his various training groups, particularly with his coach, Rainer Ryder, who's now based with him in Florida, and the rest of that group there. And as I mentioned earlier, a great field against him. Omar Craddock, ranked 3 in the world last year. Had a very disappointing World Championships, has to be said. Didn't qualify for the final, but Christian Taylor went on yet again to dominate and win in a great style in Doha, the way he often does it. Just raises his game, still can do that. And I remember a night in Doha a few years ago now when Pichardo, representing Team Europe here, and Taylor traded 18-meter jumps. It was an incredible competition. Pichardo is in Lisbon. He now competes for Portugal, former Cuban. And Cubans sit on top of the world list so far this year. They've got a few more young talents coming through. We saw a couple of them in Doha last year, continuing to produce great triple jumpers. So Taylor, Craddock and Pichardo, great competition in store. Colin, he's not a bad sprinter as well. I think he had a run out over 100 meters last week. Wasn't that quick. He had a couple of years ago. He did a good few 400s as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a very competent 400-meter runner, around that 45-second mark. So when you call about a complete athlete, he's certainly one of them.
So Craddock, first one we're going to see. This is in the second round, 16:45, bit of an opener. Set your sights if you like. Good on the board, or seem to be. Not easy to tell from that angle, but he seems to think that's good.
He seemed nice and balanced all the way through that jump, didn't he, Steve? It'd be interesting to see what that mark is, an opener.
Well, 17:04. And for Craddock, as I said, his first competition outdoors. So in Lisbon, Pichardo. Been second at the World Championships on 2 occasions. Had a few injuries and held back a little bit over the years. Whoa! Now, he's got a few spectators in the stadium there. A little shake of the head. That looked really long.
That looked extremely. That was 17 meters there that he's seemed to have flown over.
Windy, 17:40, and the wind is a bit unlucky there, just plus 2.3. So after a good start, he's got a nice stiff breeze on his back. He'll be hoping that he just gets that within the legal range. 17:40. Had that been a legal jump, it would have been the best in the world so far. So Christian Taylor then, can he respond here? Not easy for us to gauge that. Just looks a little bit flat on the runway.
Yeah, he seemed a little bit more cautious, didn't he? Didn't seem to have that same zest as Ricardo.
There's Coach Ryder. I think that means hit the board and jump. Okay, back to Sandy Morris. Second attempt, 476. That wind's getting worse, and that was a much better attempt. You can see, look at that flag on the left of the picture there, really is rocking. Can't be easy, real strong side wind for Morris to contend with. So one attempt left. Already won the competition, the only one to clear, well, anything above, well, she's got 456 and 466. So now move on to the third attempt. Silver medalist at the Worlds last year. Oh, again, just losing it at the top, wasn't it? Looked really good. First outdoor competition, Colin, as we said. I mean, she's won this, but she's going to vault a lot higher than that, I'm pretty sure, in coming weeks.
Yes, but she has the opportunity. She will definitely go higher than that. You can see she was not giving up. There was those little points that she felt that she could improve on, and each attempt she tried it. So for me, it's an early season performance by Sandy, but it's a pretty strong one.
Well, earlier we saw a cracking run just outside 39 seconds from Georgianne Moline in a comeback race to win the 300-meter hurdles. Here
Welcome
she
back
is.
to Walnut, California, sunny Southern California.
Yes.
Allison Felix comes away with a 150 win. You come away with a 300-meter hurdle win.
Yeah.
Take us through your race and your mindset of going out there and doing it all by yourself.
You know, Coach Harvey and I just tried to treat it as a practice as much as we could. And there was a lot of anxiety going into this race because it's been a year and a half for me, regardless of no fans or anything. But I was able to calm myself down, and I just executed the way I wanted. And then, you know, one of the hurdles, I just didn't trust myself coming home, and it totally stopped my momentum. And yeah, so but it's a way to learn and, you know, move forward.
Well, after being off for a year and a half, how gratifying, how fun is it to be back out on the track?
Oh, amazing. I promised myself I would never take another race or opportunity for granted. And that's exactly what I intended to do today, and that's what I did. I was just like, I'm grateful to be here regardless of that, you know, the situation, so.
You know, while some people look at the delay of the Olympics 1 year negative, maybe a positive for you.
Yeah.
You get a chance to almost go through base training completely again. What has the break been like for you?
It's been awesome. So I had surgery in August, and just coming back from that, you know, I was right on time for trials. But I'm not gonna lie, my foot is still like in a little bit of pain. So it's been nice to be like, okay, now I can really take my time, come back next year even stronger, healthier foot. So I'm pumped.
Well, you win the Inspiration Games. Your thoughts right now?
Very tight race, good time. Did you imagine before the race that you would clock such a time and do such a race?
I was really hoping for a time under 39:50. So yeah, I'm happy with the time, and also the whole atmosphere. I was really curious about, yeah, everything, and it actually ended really well.
The huddles usually is a race where you feel your opponents right next to yourself. Was there any difference today? Would you be able to focus more on yourself instead?
Yeah, I think you can focus more, but for sure you're missing the competitors a bit. But yeah, it was a good test to really be yeah, focused on yourself and just look after your race. So it was an interesting thing.
You had a fantastic start. You were...
Good start, but cut her off in her prime there. But Leah Sprunger, reasonably happy, I think. But excellent run from Moline. Great triple jump competition developing here. 17:40 with a little bit of a breeze behind him. Picardo in Lisbon. This is Craddock. Third round. No jump there for him. I think he's a bit disappointed that was a no jump. Probably thinks it was long. Difficult to tell on there, but it's the red flag. So this is the leader, 17:20, then 17:40 with the wind of just plus 2.3, just over the legal limit of 2 meters per second. Third round. Good few spectators for him. He's got a bit of atmosphere, hasn't he? Looks in great shape, and a nice flight there at the end, Colin.
Again, a nice controlled jumper. I think this time, Steve, that he was just marginally behind the board. He wasn't as plumb on the board as he was when he jumped that 1740, but it's still a jump over that 17-meter mark, isn't it? So he's stringing together a very good series.
Missed out on the medal at the World Champs last year, only just was fourth. He hadn't had a good season, you know, he kind of came good towards the end of the year. Whereas Christian Taylor went imperiously on. Needs to find something here though, third round. Languishing a little bit. It's all looking a little bit of an effort for him, isn't it? It's, it does look a little bit, you know, as though it's April, doesn't it? As though he just come out and thought, okay, I'll go and see how well I'm doing.
I was talking to Christian earlier, and he was mentioning that he's been training on so many different surfaces. One time grass, next time a little bit on track. And he was saying after the sprinting on the weekend, previous weekend, his feet were a little bit sore.
Well, he's got more jumping to do to improve as well. And can Sam Kendricks improve? 581, 3 attempts to get over 576. Oh, there you go, it just stays on. You better stay, says Sam, or else. That wind, as I said, is just making it a little bit more tricky. Yeah, he's okay. So 581, nice first-time clearance for Sam Kendricks. Already won the competition. Lisek could only manage a clearance of 566. Just be interested to see how much higher he decides to go. And he's put the bar up to 591. Now this really is putting him in the sort of Diamond League competition heights you need to win. Darn. Not quite there for that. He looks in really good shape to me, Colin. He looks, you know, very, very conditioned.
He does. He looks very strong. He looks really balanced. And do you know, Steve, the most important thing I think all athletes need is their sense of confidence and enjoyment. And Sam always exudes that, doesn't he? As he approaches the bar there, he's very aggressive and he just does what he seems to be built to do so well. Effortless when he's at his best.
Yes, we're in Mount Sac in California.
If you need a
just
hand
outside LA. I've run a few laps around this track. Looks a little bit smarter now.
There's a blue run bag in the back of my car that has an audio cable.
Sam in Florida, where it's a little bit more breezy. So this was Sandy Morris, won the competition. She actually sold a lot of her memorabilia just recently, said she needed funds to help her train and to compete.
So Sandy, you got the win today. With the amount of wind that you had at your back, were you able to take advantage of it?
So surprisingly, the wind, it was mostly a tail and then it would be a strong cross for a little while at the end there. So I was kind of struggling with it at the end. But if you're patient and you wait on it, it would turn to a tail. So I had some where I got lucky and some where I wasn't so lucky. But today was a rust buster for me. I haven't jumped from my full approach since indoor season. So I was kind of using it as an advantage or as a time to just get off the ground, get some jumps under my belt. And just have some fun. You know, this is a very unique situation that we're in, and I'm very lucky to have an opportunity to jump. So I'm extremely happy that I had this opportunity.
What have you learned about yourself as an athlete during this time of frustration, not being able to train in the way that you're used to, like all Olympic athletes are used to every minute detail? What have you learned about yourself?
Yeah, I've learned that it's harder to keep yourself extremely accountable in a time where there's no competitions, there's no eyeballs on you. It's harder than I thought it would be. But I think one of my strengths is I'm very creative and I have fun in creating just unique ways to get a workout in, even if it's not at the venue that I'm used to or with the tools that I'm used to having access to. And for me, this was actually a little bit of a blessing in disguise because I'm fighting off a knee problem right now. So just having some more time, I'm looking at it in a positive light. I'm going to use it. I'm going to spend more time on physical therapy and getting everything right for next season, and maybe if we have a season this year.
So because I follow...
Well, we leave Sandy and move on to the men's 200 meters. Noah Lyles will be in Florida, one of the sport's biggest, fastest rising stars. We've got Chirandi Martina in the Netherlands, where it's a little bit damp. And then we've got Christophe Lemaitre. Two of the European best runners. Lemaitre is going to be in Zurich, where it's Noah Lyles everybody's excited about watching. He's a fun character, and we always like to find out a little bit more about the athletes and what makes them tick.
Show us your backflip.
Me and my mom have a really good relationship. We really connect on a lot of different levels. You know, we both have that fascination with life of learning new things and, you know, grabbing onto it and wanting just to, you know, get as much as we can. We both have ADD, attention deficit disorder, so our minds are always wandering and always doing things. We both love track. We both love to sing. So last year I got the opportunity to write a song with the band Bubba Shrimps and Sandy Morris, and it was really exciting because I got to perform it in front of thousands of people. It was like, oh my gosh, this is happening, but it went really well. So it kind of just drove me more to want to make even more music.
Well, Noah Lyles, he's a real character, isn't he? And it's good to have people like him in our sport that can kind of cross over into other areas. Music, a big driver for him, but he is such a talent. The world champion at 200 meters, and this, his event. Chirandi Martina and Christophe Lemaitre know they're up against the best there is in the world at the moment. Ran sub 10 seconds last week, a little bit of a wind following. So they know that he's already in good form and ran a very good 300 meters incidentally as well. Chirandi Martina, former European champion. And then Christophe Lemaitre, the Frenchman, who certainly in his young career produced some startling performances, and he's continued to show consistency right throughout his career. So he'll be in Zurich. Noah Lyles, he puts a show on, Colin. You know, I'm not sure he'll just come to this and just go through the motions. He looks a little nervous. I always like to see that in an athlete.
Yeah, he does look a little bit apprehensive, isn't it? So you can imagine him thinking that the eyes of the world are on him because he is the leader when it comes to the 200 meters. There's a huge amount of expectation on him. So you can imagine that there's that little bit of apprehension because training has gone well. As you said, he's gone under that 10-second barrier of the 100. So you'll be expecting to go hopefully under the 20-second mark in this 200 meters, even though he's on his own.
Yeah, he ran, I don't know if you saw the clip of him running 300 meters, 31.51, and he looked really strong in the last 50, 60 meters of that. I think his younger brother Josephus was in it, and another training partner, not sure who that was, but he really finished strongly, and that augurs well. So Chirandi Martina in the chilly conditions of Papendal in the Netherlands. Noah Lyles in California. Sorry, in Florida, excuse me. And Christophe Lemaitre in Zurich. Men's 200 meters. Great start from Lyles, absolutely flew out of the blocks. And if the others were with him, they'd be thinking he's running away from us already here. Martina can run a good bend, just trying to stay with it, but look at Noah Lyles. He's halfway down the home straight. And the others hardly seem to be into the home straight. Here's Lyles, he's about to finish. And the others are, maybe a second. That cannot be right. That cannot be right.
Saying the exact same thing.
Wow. 18.91.
Let's take a
That
breath.
cannot be right, can it?
Welcome to IMG. Welcome to IMG.
Colin?
Well, they actually rounded that down then to 18.90. So we'll have to take a check of that wind speed, Steve, because he was miles in front of everybody. That is for sure. But 18.9, that would take nearly 3 meters off the time that Usain Bolt runs 200 meters.
Okay, first of all, the other two were miles behind. Okay, so he's run fast. He's run very, very fast. But under 19 seconds, we know it's windy. We know there's a bit of a breeze. We're waiting to try and get some confirmation of what that is. But he started in blistering pace and never stopped. He just kept foot to the floor all of the way. So whatever the wind reading is here, that was a phenomenal performance. And he's wandering around with his hands
I've read it
wondering what's going on. We're going to come back to this as we'll go and see Kendricks. But what a run from Lyles. Well, he put the bar up to 591 after a very nice first-time clearance of 581. Now his third attempt. Oh, that was close. That was the best one. The wind just dropped a little bit there. He is in good form, you have to say that. There's no doubt about it. It was a good competition. First time over 581, almost clearing 591. Sam Kendricks is right on top of his game. Whether he needs to be or not, who knows how many other competitions he'll have this year, but he's right there. Kendricks wins. Lisek took a season's best for second place at 566. Valentin Livellini not managing to clear at all.
It was a good one. My
North
thanks
America
to Piotr
extend their
Valentin
lead.
and all the ladies and other men in the other events and the ladies in the other events helping us put this on. I'm gonna put out my polls and we'll do a little interview.
Thanks, Sam. All right, Lyles. I'm still. While we watch Sam putting his poles away, I'm still wondering what went on there. We'll find out. Triple jump. Omar Craddock with a no jump in the third round. This is round 4, still being led by Picardo. 17-14, round 2. Taylor, 17-02, just 2 centimeters behind Craddock. Again, not. He's getting frustrated, Colin, isn't he?
You can see he's talking his way through every element of this jumping, isn't he? You know, you're just trying to, you're getting through this early season movement. You're trying to get that right balance. You're trying to get, you know, your leg shoot right, your step phase right. You don't want to be going off balance at all. But as I say, we mentioned it right from the very beginning. This is very much early season. When it comes to technical events, that's what shows up.
Well, I've no idea what happened there,
like
but let's see if he knows.
Who competed here today, you remarked about the headwind.
Yeah.
But we're still waiting on the time. What did the race feel like technically, though?
It actually felt pretty good. Besides, you know, getting that full blast of the wind, I felt that I set up the turn up really nice. I've been working on that a lot, especially using my arm swing to get that momentum to generate around the turn. So I felt that, to be honest, it was set up really nicely.
I remember that you told me that you were going after the double in Tokyo, 100 and 200. You've now been given some more chance to prepare for it. I've been watching you working on your start. How are your starts coming along?
They're actually coming really well. And I definitely got to test that out when I raced against Justin last week. You know, if you really want to see how good your start is, you got to race Justin. And, you know, I held my own, so I felt really confident in how much I've been improving.
You're somebody that usually plays to the crowd because you're a showman.
Yeah.
This has to feel sort of an out-of-body experience being here and not having a full stance to compete in front of.
You know what's crazy? It doesn't. I'm used to practicing when I need to. As long as I have the right equipment around me to test that everything is correct and perfect, you know, I can run anywhere. You need to run indoors, outdoors, in the rain. Only thing I'm not a fan of is the wind, because I can't control that.
Okay, we're going to see the triple jump, but I just need to clarify this for everybody. Sorry to talk over Craddock, but we're now being told that he started at the wrong start line and ran 185 metres into a headwind and ran 18.9. Make of that what you will. We'll come back to that. This is Craddock.
Oh, don't get that to me.
Well, he's been entertaining in his reactions to his competition, Colin. Maybe not quite getting everything that he wanted out of this, because he obviously feels as though he's got something more in the tank.
Yeah, I'm laughing there because he would have thought to himself, another no jump for myself there. That was why his reaction was like that. A little bit of irritation, but he's jumping well, there's no doubt. He's over 7 meters. 17 meters, I should say, sorry.
Yes, 17.04, so we've now got just 2 men left to jump. Last round, Picardo leading still with that 17.40. Wind's been helping him. See, that one didn't look as good. Those first 2-3 jumps, it was just so smooth, really hanging well at the end, and just lost it a little bit there, feel.
Yeah, I felt that he popped up off into that hop stage, isn't it? It takes a lot of energy out of you if you go too high. And I think that's what could have just caused him. You need to go a centimetre or two, a little bit too vertical, and that could really sap the energy, that extra spring that's needed.
Well, he's had 2 no jumps since his best jump in round 3, which was 17.02. Still well off what he can do and what he needs to do. Can he do what he often does? Raise it at the end. Well, that looked a little better. He knows that was a little better. Just that bit of effort, that's the competitive Christian Taylor. Everybody knows. He will have been told what Picardo was doing. Now, has he done enough? Not quite. 17.27. Again, that breeze +4 for him, just helping. So there's the winner, and a welcome kiss for Daddy there, and well done. 17.40, nice effort. Wind aided, +2.3, but nonetheless, good effort. Taylor, similar, a wind aided 17.27. Thanking the officials. Bless. So 5.81, nice competition from Sam Kendricks. Really had it pretty much his own way. Certainly had the best conditions, just having to contend with that cross breeze. Let's hear from Sam.
Sam, the wind is certainly one of the stories here in Bradenton today. How did you cope with it today?
Well, you know, as vaulters, we kind of got to pick our pit. And so when the wind comes strong, we actually got to use it to our advantage. We had it at our backs. Maybe a little cross sometimes, but we don't want that to be the theme of the story. It was a great day to jump. Hot. Everybody had to work through a little bit of rain. And that's kind of the summation of the Inspiration Games. We wanted to be able to have something and overcome it. It just happened to be a couple more things than just distance.
So for you, with 2 world titles, you had to be eagerly anticipating Tokyo this year, and then it gets pushed back. I thought about yourself and the other reigning world champions. How have you sort of processed the fact that you're not going to have the Olympics this year?
Well, you have to take one step back and say, well, I'm a professional in this sport. When you take this time off, I've been on a grind, so to speak, for the last 5 years, championship after championship after championship, and they are so necessary to build your reputation, to solidify yourself in the sport, and get the things you need to make it a career. And when they're moved farther back, it doesn't hit me as hard as it would a younger competitor because they need those championships to prove themselves. The cool thing is when we have smaller events like this, the guys that get the invitation are the guys that are the world champions. Like No Lie, like CT, all these other great athletes. But when there's a smaller field, they call us first, and that's to our advantage. And we want to put on a great show so that it really catches on, and so more people get added to it. And when the sport comes back, they're thronging for it.
He's a good pole vaulter, and he might be a better interviewer. He's brilliant. Anyway, so Sam Kendricks has won. We now move to our final event, the 3x100 meter relay. There's the 3 venues. We got the Swiss team representing Europe in Zurich, and what a kind of transformation. Their team is a great example. They're not all of them in this one here, but Kambunji, a key member of the team. And let's find out a little bit about her inspirations.
We have a really cool team. We are We have fun with each other, we support each other.
The strength that you get from the team in the relay is really special because not only you're running for yourself, but also for 3 other people, and also for the whole country you're representing. In our case, it's Switzerland. So it's a lot of good energy that you get.
We push each other, we support each other, so it's really nice with each other.
It's something that gives you a different vibe and really motivates you to do better.
I think it's really important to stand together because as a team we win together and we lose together, and it's really nice to have each other when things go bad, and so we can lift each other up and make things positive and try to make it better the next time.
We're talking about their team spirit here. 2 of the team, and including Del Pontier and Kambunji, who were part of their excellent performance in Doha, where they just missed out on a medal, the new national record they set. And they'll be joined by Ricardo Dicha in their team. And they're going to be taking on a very strong USA team, Alison Felix, who we saw earlier on. And Alison's going to be joined by Tiana Bartoletta, Olympic long jump gold medalist and 2-time gold medalist in the relay for the US. And Candace Hill, good to see her back, great junior. Daphne Skipper's going to be the one to watch with Nadine Visser in the Dutch team. And they'll be joined by Van Hunenstein, who's one of their squad, isn't normally in the main team, certainly Visser and Skipper's. Visser, of course, top hurdler. So 3 athletes, unusual relay. And let's hope they start off the correct marks. Just to go back to Noah Lyles, I know I said in commentary it can't be right. Well, it couldn't be right. Can't run that fast into a headwind for 200 meters. So he went off, we're told, as I said, just to reiterate, 185 meters. So let's hope, this is a different event, obviously not a normal one. Let's hope that the guys are lined up properly. So Colin, what's the challenges here? Starting on the back straight, very different to normal, just 2 changeovers.
Well, all of them are competent sprinters in their own right, so they're used to starting out of blocks and on straight lines, so there's no real issue there. I think for them, it's just controlling the excitement that they may be under pressure, knowing that the other competitors around the world are out in front of them or behind. It's that jeopardy, is it, of not knowing where you are, which can cause a little bit of anxieties. So let's just see, because the pressure is very different when you're time trialing on your own.
So Candace Hill, good to see her coming into this level of competition, the World Junior Champion, sub 10 seconds, and she was still in high school and struggled over the last 2-3 years, but good to see her in the team here. She'll hand over to Bartoletta and then Felix. We've got Van Hunenstein, then Visser and Skippers. Candace Hill certainly looks as though she started well. Dicha trying to give the Swiss a good go, but it's the USA who've got the baton in the hand. Bartoletta, who often starts for the US, or has done in the past, going well. Looks as though Visser, who is in top form already this year, but the Swiss and the Americans look very close. The Dutch a little bit behind, but Skipper's got the baton for them now. So it's Kambunji against Alison Felix. Raced earlier on, Skipper's trying to finish quickly. It could be the US who take that one just on the line. 32-26, Switzerland 32-52, Netherlands catching up at the end, but just had too much ground to make up. Pretty good changes, they all got it round safely, haven't seen any red flags anywhere. But it's the United States who take the win. Close in the end. Well, Alison's had a busy afternoon, but Colin, was good to see, first of all, Candace Hill, who is, could well be, we hope, still develop on the great talent she has. Tiana Bartoletta, who we know is so good in relays. But yeah, they did well.
Yeah, I mean, he'll be very happy that she's in a team of experience with Bartoletta and, of course, with Alison Felix. But I was watching very much the Dutch team right in the middle of our screen there, and Visser and Daphne Skippers, they really struggled with that final exchange. I think Visser was caught in early, and I think Daphne never, ever got out strongly. I think she was very cautious driving away, so I think that's why the Dutch, they were a little bit off the pace. But look how easy and graceful Alison Felix is there, powering down that track. still full of running. We even with a sack of medals that she has. Incredible amount.
Well, Sheila's still got plenty to offer the US track and field team, I'm sure, both as a role model and her exploits on the track or whatever distance she decides, and in terms of being part of relay, either 4x1, 4x4. Kambundji finished very strongly indeed, but not quite good enough. We'll come back to the relay, but let's have a chat with the winner in Portugal of the men's triple jump. 17:40 in round 2 with a little bit of a following wind. Great performance from Picado.
Pedro, how did you feel with this victory after the pandemic period? How was your return to competition?
Olha, senti-me muito bem, além das dificuldades por causa da pandemia. Foi bom resultado, acho que foi uma boa marca. Para além das dificuldades e o treino no hotel corrido como sempre, acho que foi uma boa competição e estou feliz pelo resultado.
Pedro is happy with the results after this pandemic period. The training are going well and he's really happy with this result. O que é que tu achas deste modelo de competição de ter um atleta aqui e dois atletas nos Estados Unidos, um na Califórnia e outro na Flórida? Pedro, what do you think about this competition model that you are jumping alone here in Lisbon and there are two other athletes in the other two parts of the world?
Olha, para mim foi uma coisa inovadora, foi uma competição bocado divertida, né? E também bocado, de outra parte, bocado triste, porque não tem muito público e também não é a mesma coisa saltar todos juntos do que uns separados. Assim, a emoção não é a mesma. Quando estamos aqui sozinhos, parece tipo treino, então é bocado diferente. Mas mesmo assim, acho que foi uma boa prova.
Pedro liked this kind of competition. It's a little bit, it's funny, but it's also sad because there is not too many public in the stands, and sometimes looks like a train because it's not the same emotion to have the other athletes here jump with him, and he's jumping alone, and he prefers to jump all together. O que é que podemos esperar de ti ainda este ano? Ainda tens um calendário competitivo interessante. O que é que podemos esperar do Pedro hoje com 17:40? What can you expect? What can he expect from you in the rest of the season? You have more competitions today. You had jumped 70-40 with the win, but what we can hope from you this season?
Olha, da minha parte sempre é bom esperar o melhor. Sempre que saio à pista é para fazer o meu melhor. Mesmo que não aconteça, sempre estou a tentar e a puxar para fazer o meu melhor salto sempre. E muito grato com o apoio que tive hoje aqui, das poucas pessoas da minha família que estiveram hoje, e muito grato pela pessoa que estiveram.
For Pedro, we can expect always the best from him every time that he comes from the track, and he's very grateful for the support that he had today in Lisbon. His family was with him, so he's really happy with the results. Obrigado, Pedro.
Obrigado a vocês.
Yes, well done to him, and we have to say well done to Christophe Lemaitre, because with Noah Lyles, sadly, we can't accept the mark because he didn't run 200 metres, not his fault, but we probably knew something was wrong. In fact, we did when it ran that quick. So Lemaitre is now the winner of the 200 metres, and Chirandi Martinez second, and Lyles will be moved down to third. So the winning team in the 3x100 metres were the USA, Candace Hill, Tiana Bartoletta and Allyson Felix.
Well, welcome back to Walnut, California. Big win for Team USA here at the Mount San Antonio College track. Candace, you got everybody started, and you're running with a couple gold medalists. Your approach coming in and your thoughts on running with these two?
At first, I was really nervous because they were on the world record breaking 4x1. So I'm like, I can't mess this up. Like, I have to get the baton around. But it's a nice opportunity running with them, and I hope to be like them one day in the future.
Well, Tiana, a sped-up version to a season that you thought maybe you're just going to have an extra year to get ready for the Olympics. Your fitness level right now, your thoughts about today's race?
My fitness level I'm really happy with, considering I had to have this crazy emergency surgery and a blood transfusion. So I was really happy to get the call to run a 3x1 and for it to have come together. It's a great break from training, and it just validates the progress we've been making.
All right, and Allison, another win for you today, 2 for 2. You take down the 150-meter win and come away with the relay. How much time did you guys actually have to work on these baton passes before the race?
We literally just did it, you know. The situation here where tracks are still not open, you know, is difficult, but, you know, we got it done, we had fun, and
it helps that we know each other a little bit.
Yes, that made it a little easier.
Well, and again, you know, this event is for just all those people out there that are seeing what's going on in the world right now. You know, how inspirational is it for you guys to be able to come out here and run in a year where maybe you thought you weren't going to get to run at all?
It's important to, it's important to just stay encouraged. I find that that's my daily struggle, is like to be outside, tapping fences, trying to get workouts in, and not knowing exactly what it's for or when you'll see the fruits of your labor. Just stay encouraged, just keep getting out there, because opportunity does present itself, so you have to be ready when it calls. And
Allison, you talk about, you know, just what a meaningful time in history this is, because you do have a daughter. When you look back on the 2020 season, you know, what are going to be some of the things that you remember?
You know, that it's a challenge. I think all around the world we're dealing with that, and we see kind of where sport falls and how important it is to unify and bring people together, and I think that's what today was about.
All right, well, congratulations, Team USA.
Thank you.
Well done to them, Team North America. They've got Canadians in there as well. And there's the final results. Still a win for North America despite the points lost by Noah Lyles. And that may well be the talking points. The 200 metres that never quite was, but it was a great competition. Well done to everybody involved, particularly the athletes, and to everybody who made it happen. The Inspiration Games, we look forward to seeing you all in Monaco in August.